Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Thriving Together. I'm Kelly Montgomery Hutchings, and today I am out in front of the Morgan County Sheriff's Department, where I am going to interview two ladies who are breaking the ceiling with police work and being in a man's world. So, if you are ready to join me and these two young ladies and find out how they are making it in the criminal justice land and how they're succeeding, please stay with me. Thank you. Okay, well, y'all, I am here with two very lovely women, and I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves to you.
I'm Investigator Brandi Sue.
And I am Investigator Erica Delgado.
Okay, and what are your jobs?
I'm investigators.
Investigators with the Morgan County Sheriff's Department, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay. And being an investigator, what does that entail? What does your day look like?
Believe it or not, our job actually is a lot of office paperwork.
Okay.
It's just follow through with everything. Of course, we have what we call field time, where we go out, and that's when we talk to our victims. We, go to hospitals to pick up and drop off subpoenas, medical records. Where we go to DCFS, where we go to pick up or drop off any kind of evidence pertaining to our cases. Both her and I primarily do SVU, special victims cases. And of course, because our unit is so small, if there's a homicide or something major that requires all hands, everybody kind of does that, but for the most part, that's kind of what her and I do.
Okay.
So, if we have to drop off, rape kits, things like that, that's what we call field time. So usually we'll use like the second part of our day or the very beginning of our day before we come into the office to kind of get all that situated. We come in, and the rest of the day is just paperwork. Case reports and
Gotcha.
Search warrants and, stuff like that. And then if we have to interview, we call them in, and we have interview rooms and things like that.
Gotcha. So what is a special victim?
So what we typically do is any crimes against persons. So adult and children cases, sexual and physical abuse. It could be DV strangulation. It could be a burglary where an assault occurred on someone. So anything that's typically dealing with another person, a crime that has happened to them, not a residence or a building.
Gotcha. Okay, so we know a little bit about what you do on a daily basis. What drove you to choose this line of work?
So her and I are going to probably have two different answers. I did not have the typical lifestyle. I actually grew up in the system. And it wasn't until I was 14 where I was finally adopted. And it was just a short period of time, obviously, that I was in that, home.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing was the military. So I went into the military. I did the Marine Corps.
Semper Fi!
And it was just the whole idea of serving my country, just serving the citizens, I guess. That's just kind of been always my thing. So just law enforcement seemed appropriate, I guess, going after the military life. Of course, I had kids. So at the time, my ex-husband, or my husband at the time, he was also in the military. We were high school sweethearts, so we met that way. We had kids. He decided he wanted to stay in. And of course, military and law enforcement, male predominant fields. So it required a lot with me being a mom and being like a service member. And I figured if anybody had, and I deployed. So at the time, he and I deployed together, and we had our daughter. And I think for me, especially growing up the way that I did and not being able to be there for her, especially for her first year of life or two, it was just like being present like all the time. I missed a lot, and I just couldn't mentally deal with that. That was probably the hardest part of it. I loved the military. But I figured if somebody had to be out, it was going to be me.
Gotcha.
So I let him stay in, and I got out. I did the stay-at-home mom thing for a while. And then, of course, I had my son, and then did the law enforcement thing. Kind of went in, started out as corrections. We ended up here in Alabama. I'm not from here. I'm actually from New York. So that's a long story.
That is a long story.
Yeah. But I'm here. I came here to Alabama, and then I started in the corrections.
Okay.
So typically here, that's how you would do it. That's usually a lot of law enforcement places aren't like that. You have to kind of go to school or something like that before you kind of go into, and then go to the academy, of course. But here they give you the luxury of actually being a corrections officer. You serve your time, and then you put in, your interest in being a post, and so that's kind of how that goes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up here.
Okay.
Oh, you're good. But that's kind of the gist of it. That's how I ended up here in the law enforcement field. So.
Gotcha. Okay, Brandi, how about you?
Okay, so I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was about 16. And it came from when I was 13 years old. My stepbrother was killed in a car accident. He was 19. And we see this all the time. Anytime there's a tragic, unexpected death, there's rumors. So there was a lot of rumors circulating around that his brake lines were cut, that someone was shooting at him and he was fleeing and had his car accident. Well, so me, I became addicted to just digging in. I researched everything that I possibly could. We had troopers come and check the vehicle. Did my own investigation the older that I got, to the point where a lot of his friends didn't know who I was, and I would basically become friends with them to get information. And I went to so far as finding the person that was kind of a witness and actually interviewing him. So I learned that was my passion, and I wanted to be a voice for people who couldn't speak for themselves anymore. So I knew getting into law enforcement, I wanted to work with pretty much any crimes against a person, children or adults. So that's where I just fell in love with it. It was just a passion. So I went to school because I knew I wanted to. My dream then was to get into the FBI. So I did the proper steps of what I thought to get into the FBI. So I started my education, got a 4-year degree. While I was doing that, I thought, well, I need to get some experience in law enforcement. So I started at another agency other than this one. And like she said, I started in the jail because that's what you had to do. So I worked in the jail and did corrections for 3.5 years. Then at that time, and this is in a lot of departments, you can't just go into the role of an investigator. So you have to go to the police academy, and you have to go to patrol. I did not want to go to patrol, but that's just part of it. So I went to the police academy, went to patrol. I was fortunate enough I only had to do a year on patrol. And patrol's not for everyone, and I'll be the first one to admit I did not like it. It was not for me. But then I was moved into crimes against persons, and I started off doing adult cases. And then at the department I was in, it was split. There was 2 crimes against person investigators. One did adults, the other did children. So I started off doing adult cases. I did adult cases for about 1.5 years, and then they moved me to work children cases. Primarily at that department, that individual is usually a female in that role, if they have it available. There's not a lot of females that were APOS certified. So, and I did that for 5.5 years. And then I took over the evidence room. I worked the evidence room for 2 years and still did investigations on the side, some internal investigations. And then I joined what's called ICAC Task Force, which is Internet Crimes Against Children. So I worked with the state, and I did that for a little over 2 years. And with those type of cases, you get burnout you need a break. So I knew mentally I needed to take a break from those type of cases. So I stopped doing that, then specifically just did the evidence room and then whatever cases they would assign me here and there. And then I came here to Morgan County, and I was fortunate enough to go strictly into CID. And I pretty much do a little bit of everything. I help her with some of the crimes against person cases, but then I also get a burglary or identity theft or fraud here and there. So it's different because it's not my specialty, but it's fun. Not every day is the same.
That's what I enjoyed about it, is that it was completely different every day. You never knew what you were walking into when you entered, the doors of the workplace. So, all right. So we know how you got into the jobs and kind of why. What are the biggest challenges that as a woman you face in your workplace, and how do you handle them?
So this is a touchy subject, I guess, for females, because of course we want to be seen as equals, especially in the line of work that we do. But at the end of the day, we know that we're also not, in the sense that we play different roles, mainly at home, not so much.
Let's stop a second. Go ahead.
We have different roles at home, but at our work environment, we're pretty much, I would say we're supposed to be the same. Are we treated the same? Not necessarily. So since I've been here at the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, I've done several things. I've been a part of different attachments, I guess, or extracurriculars, if you will. When I started out in the jail, I was one of 2 females that were part of the SRT team. At the time, it's basically like a fast reaction team. So like if there's any major event going on, like a hostage or like a jail takeover or something, that's what the SRT team does. It's a quick reaction force team. So I was and getting onto that, it was like, I guess they knew my background, of course, being in the military, so they already probably had that high expectation, like, okay, well, she better perform. But then also, while I was there, it was like, well, can she? Because she's a female. Like, let's see what she can do. So it was like always that type of feedback that we always get as a female, where it's like, well, she wants to be in this field, let's see what she can do. And it's always like we're kind of the center of everything that goes on, so I did that, and then of course I went on to being a post. We were actually talking about this, being moms. I think being in law enforcement, that is probably the biggest obstacle, because we don't get to stop being moms, and this job requires a lot. Every department's going to be different as far as hours and schedule and stuff like that, but we always did 12-hour shifts. And I had the luxury, my kids were a little older when I got into this field, when I became a post. They were still where I needed to be home with them, make sure they got to school. Here, of course, the rookies, they are automatically kind of put onto night shift. So it was who was going to be home with my kids, having to work with their dad, making sure that he understood. Of course, there was dealing with that, like, hey, can you help? And him, being difficult, of course, because we weren't together at the time. So the co-parenting is not always there. So dealing with that, making sure that, I got home in time to, I didn't get the luxury of going to bed right away. So I had to, after working, 12 plus hours, and then I come home, I have to get them ready for school. I drop them off, I come home, and then I finally go to sleep. But then, of course, because of our job, we have to stay physically fit. So did I get a full 8 hours of sleep? No. I had to wake up a little earlier than usual, go to the gym, work out, make sure, and then come home, get ready for work, or pick up my kids, then come home, make sure they had dinner. And So it's a lot. So does a male have to do that a lot of the times, unless they're a single dad? And even then, no. Also, with me, I don't have family here, and I have no family. I don't really have friends, and because of like that, I don't really trust people with my kids, especially now being in the field that I am in, and all the stuff that I've seen and just personally have dealt with myself growing up and experiencing. I don't trust people with my kids. So it's hard for me. So I didn't have the luxury of saying, hey, I need help. Can you watch my kid or anything? It's always been me, just me by myself.
Wow.
So that was always hard. And I've dealt with that too as well when I was in the military. That I received so much backlash from the military as well, with being the mom, having to be the mom. Anyway, and so of course I go into get the opportunity to do investigations. It's mainly, of course, our job. Yes, it's a Monday through Friday, we have set hours, but if we're on call, it's going to be 24/7. And then honestly, if any call comes out, especially if it's all hands, everyone goes, so it doesn't matter. So our schedule is unpredictable, to say the least. I am now part of negotiations. I'm sort of certified at SWAT as well, so I did that, and I was on honor guard. So I did a lot. I actually had to step back from a lot of those things because it just, like I said, so much.
You only have 24 hours in a day.
But you want to be present. You want to show that you're a team player,
Sure.
that you're more than qualified to stand there. But even then, going through all of that, it's just I was the only female on SWAT. And I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. Like, of course, I'm a little older, so physically it was more demanding than it would have been, but still I did it, and I was very proud of myself. But being on the team still, even though it was always, we have your back, you're one of us, there was times where it wasn't always that way.
Gotcha.
And so it just made me kind of step back a little bit from that too, not because I wanted to. And then of course my dad had passed away, so that was like mentally I was not there for a long time, and still kind of recovering. It's only been, I think now, going on 2 years. So it was brand new.
And it will continue because my dad passed away 4 years ago, and I still have a loss feeling.
It was one of those where I had just graduated from SWAT, and then that morning I found out he passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was rough. So it was kind of like a bittersweet, and I tried to hang in there. So I know mentally, I had to pull myself back because I knew if I went into a situation, I wanted to make sure that I was okay to cover my team, and I was mentally there and sound to make the right judgment or whatever if I had to. But so it was my choice to step back. But it was just even throughout. It was after a while, after trying and being not just the support was not there. It was just the physical part of it. It's always they're watching you to see if you're gonna fail. So that was always, and sometimes it's motivating because because in my way I'm no, watch me, this is what I do. But then it's exhausting because it's how much more do I have to give of myself? How much more do I have to prove? I'm doing it. I'm doing this, and this. I'm here, I'm showing up, and you still don't really respect me in the sense we're the same. So that's kind of my, how it's been for me. And so I don't know, Brandi may have similar but different experiences when it comes to that.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest difference and challenges, I guess, would be respect. Not just from my coworkers, but from civilians as well. I can't tell you how many calls I went to where I'm the primary on the call, and I get there, let's just say it's a domestic dispute. Well, the male is the aggressor. Well, he already has his mindset on a female a certain way. And so is he going to listen to me? Probably not. In my experiences, most time not. But you can have my male back up, listen to everything he says, and it's like I don't exist. So I think society views in women in law enforcement, I think and I can't say everyone, I think there's a lot of people that want us to be here, love the fact that we're here, but then there's also a lot of other people that don't have the same views. There's a lot of people that think we do not belong in this field, that we have no place in this field. And I can give you another example. I was sitting, I just fueled up. I was sitting in my car. A school resource officer pulled up beside me, so he was coming to get fuel. We were sitting there for a few minutes just chit-chatting. I was actually working on a report, and this older gentleman pulls up. He gets out. He comes and stands in between our patrol units, and we're like, hey sir, can we help you? And he looks over at me and he said, whoa, I bet your husband's mad. And I said, why is that, sir? He said, because you're not at home in the kitchen. And I just drove away. I mean, and the comments you get, I don't know, I would be a rich woman if I had $1 for every time someone said, well, you don't look like a cop.
Yeah, you're too pretty to be a cop.
Well, what does a cop look like?
Well, yeah, exactly.
What is it? And
there's good-looking men cops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're labeled. We're labeled a lot of times as you either have to be, you're either this or you're that. Men don't get those same labels. And we are constantly having to prove ourselves. It's like we're never enough. I feel like every position that you're in, you have to try so much harder. And it's like, I'm proving myself for what? Like, I don't owe you anything. But yet, that's the field we're in. We have to constantly prove ourselves. And there's men in this field that do not respect us. There's men in this field that will not take orders from a female. So there's challenges all over. And then as the mom aspect, like she said, it is hard. I'm a single mom too. I have 2 little kids. My kids are 7 and 5.
Oh,
so if I get caught out during the middle of the night, I can't just leave my kids at home. You know, I'm having 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm having to get my kids up, calling this family member, because I am lucky enough my family is here. I'm born and raised here. But I'm having to call my family to see who will answer the phone so I can drop my kids off so I can come into work. And I live an hour away. So it's very challenging. It's stressful. At this age, you know, my kids do not like my job. They're always saying, Mommy, you know, we wish you had a job where you were home more. And unfortunately, I've got to survive.
Yeah.
So, and I have to do what's best for them. And so, you know, I went to college. I got a 4-year degree. Does my degree help me? No. I don't get an extra pay incentive for having a 4-year degree. Is there other jobs that I could get that my education would help? Sure. But this is where I'm at right now. And so I've got to do what's best for them. And, you know, I was married when I married their father. He's in law enforcement too. So it was also challenging. He worked for a different department, but our apartments, I was the county, he was the city, same county. Some calls we would get called out to the same calls. So it was hard because then it was like what she said, who stays behind? You know, and I would always choose to stay behind because that's my biggest thing is I'm going to choose my family. Because at the end of the day, someone else can do my job. I mean, they may not do it as better than me, but there's someone else that can do this job. This job is going to continue whether I'm here or not. My babies are more important. So I always chose to stay behind. Did that come with repercussions for me? Absolutely. I was in investigations and there were other people in that division that hated the fact that I wasn't there for certain things that they had to be there for. But they also had a wife at home to watch their kids. And that's what a lot of them didn't understand. I am the wife, but I'm not home. Yes. You know, I have to do this job and then I get home and I have to do the job of a mom and now I have to do it by myself. So it's difficult. And I think the biggest, strain, in my career was when I was pregnant in law enforcement. And I think men don't realize that because they're never pregnant in law enforcement.
Right.
But it's just the simple things as, for instance, wearing your firearm. When you get so big, you cannot wear a belt. You cannot wear regular jeans. So how am I going to be able to carry my gun on my hip? So the department I was working for at that time, I asked if I could use a drop leg holster to where my gun's lower, and I was told, no, those are too aggressive. They're in policy. We can't wear those. So then I bought a shoulder holster so I could still carry my gun because, you know, that's kind of part of the job. And I was told, you cannot wear that. That is breaking policy. We don't wear that. I'm like, but it's also breaking policy that I come to work and I don't have my firearm. And I was told you can either get a desk job or you can pair up with a partner every time you go out in the field. So that's what I chose to do because I was passionate about my cases, my victims. I did not want to give that up just because I was pregnant. So, you know, it's difficult in ways.
All things that men don't have to even think about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And another thing, and this may be TMI, but, you know, women, we have menstruation. So when you're on patrol, and it's happened to me, when you need to go take care of your feminine problems, but you can't. You're on a call where you're stuck there. Or even using the bathroom. You know, men have the luxury of going behind a building, you know, going between squad cars and using the restroom.
My grandson calls them bush peas.
we don't get to do that.
No.
But I think a lot of men don't understand that. And they think we play the victim role in certain situations, and it's like, but you've never been in this situation, so you can't understand.
So it'd be, if men could live just one day as a female officer, you know, investigator.
It would definitely change their mindset as far as, like, not that we go in it complaining or wanting to complain, or I mean, I try to be as minimal about, and not just because I want to hide what I'm going through, because, you know, I mean, yes, I understand my challenges, and I still chose to be in the field that I am, so I understand that I'm not asking them to, you know, bow down to every need that I have.
But basic needs like going to the restroom.
Be understanding and say, you know, and then there's some things, you know, to be accommodating with, you know, just understanding is just kind of the big thing as well. That's all we just want someone to understand.
Yeah.
You know, so, and not automatically assume like, oh, you know, I mean, there's so many names that we get called, you know, just for.
You get called names at work.
Yeah.
What kind of names do you get called? And we may or may not.
It's mainly complainers, that whiners or complaining, or and I mean, bitching, and you know, you're bitching again, and you know, the estrogen in the room is, you know, if there's more than one female, there's too much.
And how does that make you feel?
It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
It is disrespectful.
I don't say those things to you. Like, what makes it okay for you to say it to me? And I think society as a whole, I mean, how many times have you heard, like, oh, you hit like a girl. Oh, you swing like a girl. Well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with being a girl?
I am a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, it's a little frustrating.
So it's funny because, you know, I did law enforcement back in the 90s. 94 is primarily the year that I was doing it. And to find out that in 2025, which, okay, I'm terrible at math, you know, 20 plus years, that it's still happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's still happening because these are a lot of things that I experienced. And I just, it floors me to an extent that I hear you all talking and I, you know, I'm reliving and I'm like, my gosh, it hasn't changed. So what can we do to make it change? What can be done? I mean,
if honestly, if you're saying it, you've experienced that and it's been 20 plus years. I mean, honestly, I don't know, because I feel like, especially with this generation, there's more women that are inclined to do or wanting to do this job. So I don't think it has anything to do with we need more women out there or whatever. I just feel like it's a man's world, and I feel, and if anything, to be honest with you, I feel like it's a little bit more threatening because we're taken over. is how people see things now. Like, and not just with this field, but any male predominant field. Oh, they're taking over.
Yeah.
You know, and so I feel like certain fields now that used to just be a lot nothing but males or one or two females, and then now have more females. It's like it's not the same. It's not viewed as respectful or as tough, I guess, if you want to say it that way. And to me, I mean, I feel like women bring more, I don't know, like balance into things. We come to the table with different mindsets. I'm not gonna say, because I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been in this field, and there have been women that have brought a bad name. So not just law enforcement, but when I was in the military, you get, one or two females that kind of mess it up for everybody, and it's like, you're the reason. Like, don't be that female. Like, don't do that. And you want to kind of shake them and say, look, this is our chance. Like, we're making history here. We're, we're paving the way, and here you are just kind of keeping us down. So it's frustrating. And I think our thing is like, we get that one person and it sets us back 20 years.
Right.
So we're never fully evolving. We're never kind of getting there. Like, you take one step forward, and then something happens, and we're back to where we started. So honestly, that's probably why 20 plus years later, it's the same, to be honest with you.
Wow.
We don't really catch a break.
That really hurts my heart.
It does.
It really. I'm sitting here listening to you all, and I'm pulling my hair right now, honestly, because I'm so. It frustrates. That's frustrating.
So when I came in, and this is going into corrections, the sheriff of Morgan County was a female, and I was in awe of her. I thought, oh my goodness, like, this is gonna be amazing. Like, I wanted to be just like her. Mm-hmm. It was powerful. It was just,
I was friends with her, and
I'm not going to get into that because I don't know the details, and I'm not trying to sound dumb, but the way that everything happened, it was disappointing. But I hear people all the time and say there will never be another female sheriff here. How is that, like...
That's not okay. That is not okay.
One female. We will never hire another. We will never have, they will never accept another female sheriff again. So, it's disappointing.
If you look at a lot of departments, not just here in Morgan County, but I mean, where are the females in administration? I mean, really, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of women that are high leaders in this field, which is disappointing. I mean, I think we're only like 12% of the field is females, so It's hard. So like she says, you get one or two that do something stupid, then it's viewed that we're all that way because there is such a small number of us.
But do men get that?
No.
I mean, the things that are going on here in our city. A couple of bad police officers. Mm-hmm. My opinion, they didn't do things the right way. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, the police are getting a bad rap all over right now. I mean, it's the way in the times, and it's designed to be this way to keep us all, in chaos and hating one another, and racial wars and political wars and blah blah blah. But I do find I think, like what you're saying, is that if a male, does something, not right or anything, it gets washed over more than if a female does. Yeah. Okay, well then let's move on to something a little happier. Okay. What are the biggest rewards that you get in this job? I mean, you've stayed in it. How many years have you been in?
Total, probably a little over 12 years.
12 years?
14.
14 years. So there's got to be something that brings you back to work every morning. What is that? What is that thing? Maybe it's the camaraderie between the two of you. And you look forward to coming into work, and saying, okay, we're gonna do this today, and I applaud you. Golly, I applaud you big time.
I think on a personal level, my kids.
Your kids.
Breaking generational curses for them. I'm opening doors for them, and I feel like they're watching me, and because I don't shy away from. I don't tell them details, but I don't shy away from obstacles that I'm facing. My daughter is married now; she's older, and my son is going to be 16, so they're not babies per se. So I talk to them about certain things, and especially when they're going through stuff, I'm always like, well, mommy had to go through this. Like, just because it's hard doesn't mean that that's it. You just have to put in a little bit more effort. So I think them watching me, at least that's what I'm hoping, overcome my obstacles, kind of help them understand and see, well, if mommy did this, then I can do it.
Okay.
And then,
so being a role model.
Yeah, and then on a professional level, the cases that we solve, especially for my special victims, being advocates for, especially the kids, because I grew up in the system and the things that I went through personally, like, it's mainly why I do my job. Like, I take it personally in the sense, like, every case, not every case, but I have a little bit of me in every case because of the things that I've been through. Like, I don't talk about a lot of the stuff that I've gone through, but it's almost like, I actually know what that feels like. I know the hurt that they're feeling. And then, as a parent, we get the parents that have kids that have been hurt, and so they're being able to help them through it and to talk to them, but starting a case from finish to end and watching, the perpetrator, like, get sentenced.
Justice served.
And just, it's satisfying.
It is.
And it's rewarding in its own way, and that just speaks volumes. That by itself is why we do it. That's why I do it. So,
Gotcha.
And then just for me, like,
it's a challenge.
And that's just how my whole life has been. Like, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it. Like,
I love it. I love it.
Just don't, because I'm gonna do it. And so that's just my mentality. I want to be, no matter what I'm going through, no matter how many times somebody has, I'm not gonna lie, like, I have my moments where I let it kind of get to me a little bit, but then it's like, no, because what female has done this before? And if I can do this, and another female is thinking about it and saying, oh, no, if they see me do it, I want to be that motivation for them. Like, I will never set a woman back and say, look, like, this is only my space, or, like, you can't do, or, be judgmental. Like, for me, I'm, like, all about the females. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
The more of us, the better. In the sense, like, of course, with respect to what we do, but it's like, I'm all about, empowering other women around me. She can tell you, I'm just trying to keep the peace.
Well, see,
Everybody's
you're
happy.
absolutely perfect for this channel, because that's what this channel is about, is empowering women and making us be, the best version of ourselves. And that's...
So I just, but...
She is the calm of the room. I always tell her that. There's five of us investigators, and I'm like, she is the calm. I'm the storm sometimes. She's the calm. I wish I could be more of the calm, but
I've had too
I don't know. The
storm,
storm though is what makes change, and after the aftermath of a storm, you have to pick up and renew. So.
I would say for me, it is more of the justice part of it that keeps me going. And I'm not gonna lie, there's been many times I'm like, here's my gun and badge, like, I'm done. But then you have that case that comes along, and like she said, you see it from start to finish, and it's so rewarding, because the horrible things that person did to this, I'm gonna say, a child, and you can't take that pain away. You can't ever make it better. You can't ever fix it. You can't ever take it away. But you can give them a certain type of peace, healing, by just doing your job and doing it well. And so there's pride that comes into that of, okay, I did the right thing. I put everything I could into this case. I poured everything I could into it, because unfortunately we can't always see the outcome of a case. But when you get that guilty plea or in trial, it is so rewarding, and you're like, yes, this is what it's for. And I can't tell you how many parents have reached out to me years later that are still thanking me, like, you saved my daughter's life, you got her out of that situation. And that's like, okay, this is what God put me here for.
Amen.
Or you believed her, or there's so, especially being a female, I mean, it's just so easy for them to just be dismissed when it comes to them being victims, or so it's just.
And I think that's so important that that women are on the force, because regardless if men look down on emotional states, we have that inner understanding, and so many women victims just get glossed over because, and I'm not saying there's not a man out there that is not empathetic,
Right?
Because there are a lot of empathetic men, but it's not the same thing as having a woman to talk to you.
Yes. And Eric and I, we're both very intuitive people, and so
I think you have to be in law enforcement.
And I think it makes you better at your job. And a lot of men, like you said, they're not empathic, or they may not have that empathy. Not all, but there are some. And so in certain positions, like special victims, you need to have that empathy. And you'll have victims that are females that do not want to speak to a man because of the horrible things a man has done to her.
Right.
So I think it's very important to have females in this role.
Yeah, that is very important. Very important. I know from experience on that. All right, we're gonna, let's see, 3 seconds. You did mention that there was a female sheriff here. There's a whole story behind that. We won't go into it. You now have a male sheriff. How is he as a leader for you, the women in the department?
So he definitely was a change of pace in a good way. He's just a good man overall. He's present. Like, he will make sure every day to come in and, check on you and say, hey, how are you feeling today? And, if something happens personally in your life, like, he knows about it, and he is constantly checking, making sure that you're okay, which I think is important, because with this line of work, you kind of get lost in just the job in itself. And not being present for your employees, I guess, if you want to say, like, your colleagues. It's, you never know, especially with this job. There's so many the mental aspect is huge. So he's been so good for us, I think. Definitely different than what we had before. So still, I guess in the chain of command, there's still some, but I feel like that's just going to be no matter who's sheriff, I guess. I don't necessarily feel like that has anything to do with him. I mean, you can't control everyone, but I think he does the best that he can with.
Well, knowing that there was a female sheriff at one point here, how easy or difficult, can play it either way, is it to move up the ladder? Or do you want to move up the ladder? Do you, stay where you're at is perfectly fine. You've got the coolest jobs, I think. I mean, I would love to be in your position. I wish I had stayed with it. I really do. That's one of my regrets in life. But if you wanted to move up the ladder, so to say,
honestly,
is there a way to do it for you?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. And not to speak negatively, and this is what I mean. There's kind of, and I don't know if this is with all law enforcement, but this is kind of one of the things. There's favoritism, and departments, I guess. So if there was a way to move up, I don't know. They would probably think long and hard if a female, and I say a female, but really it's just me and her.
Gotcha.
At this point, that would even be considered for a position, and I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't know if you want to elaborate.
Well, and for me, and I've worked at a different department. Most of my career was at a different department, and I can say, while working there, you did not see females move up. You just didn't. Here it's a little bit different. There actually are like interviews. They will look at your personnel files. They will do tests for you to be able to do that. And other departments are like that as well. So it's a little bit more fair.
Okay.
But like the last department I came from was not fair. They just pick and choose who they liked. There's buddy systems. Where you go.
Good old boys.
Oh yeah, good old boys. So if they like you, great. I've also noticed that if you keep your mouth shut and you just do what you're supposed to do, then you are more likely to move up. But I'm the type of person, I'm very blunt. I'm honest. I'm in your face. If I don't agree with it, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
Like me or not, that's just how it is. But here, to be able for us to be promoted, pretty much we're going to have to go through that interview stage. We're going to have to go back to night shift patrol. It's just kind of the way it is to get sergeant. You're more likely going to go back to night shift patrol, and as me and with young kids at home, it doesn't work. And that's why I left the department I was at before, is because I was going to night shift patrol, and I could not do that with my kids, and I'm not going to pick my career over my kids. I'm just not. I mean, there's other careers out there for me if I had to go that route. So I'm never going to pick my job over my kids.
Gotcha. And that's admirable. Family is everything. Family will always be there. Family is what has your back. Not everything does. Not everything does. Well, talking about family, and especially Brandi, with you having young kids, 5 and 7, you said. What is the first thought that you have when you are called out to a very dangerous situation?
Really, my first thought is how I'm going to handle this and how I'm going to protect my other people. Like, I know they're coming, and you know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to necessarily say that my kids are the first thing that pop in my head, because it's not. I think it's just instinct of survival is how am I going to survive this?
Okay.
But at the end of the day, yes, I'm surviving for them.
Right.
But that's not the first thing that comes to my head. It's just how am I going to handle this situation? How am I going to handle it correctly? And how I'm not only going to do it so I come out of this alive, but my coworkers come out of this alive.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's pretty much the same. The survival mode, I guess, sets in. And again, this is probably just from past trauma. I'm good about separating situations. So I know in the end, well, in order for me to do my job, I need to be present. So I'm good about setting situations, you know, those situations aside. Like, we went to a call where I think he was 7 years old. He was stabbed by his old mom. Going to that scene initially, I mean, you would think right off the bat, especially as a parent, that's gonna hit you. But honestly, I don't know if it's because we've been doing this for a while, and this is just part of being able to do this line of work. Why it's also so important when you apply for this position, that you have to understand that this is what it takes. You can be emotional, but it's not gonna solve the situation. Like, it's not gonna solve the case right there and then. So you have a choice. You go in, you do what you gotta do, and then you feel after.
Feel after.
And the good thing with our department is they had someone come in after, I think it was like the next day, to sit with us. I think it was Eagle Counseling. A representative came and kind of sat us down all together and then offered separate, just to kind of see where we were at mentally, because they knew that that was a big deal. So that part I love about our department. They're very aware about, you know, our mental status. But that was just an example of how, I mean, it's you go in and it's like it hits you. It's like, okay, wow, like this is a kid, but then it's like, this is a kid, so we've got one chance to do this right. So it's like, okay, wash everything over, we do what we got to do, and then after the fact, and I actually interviewed the mom. I wasn't the primary officer, but I was in there while she was being interviewed, and so I was right across from her as a mother. It's like, so as far as the personal aspect, it's kind of leave it behind. You have to. I mean, and if you can't, then honestly, this is not the job for you.
Right.
And even on patrol, I want to say I was still brand new. Probably a year in, I want to say, within my first year. We went to, there was a call that came out. Initially, it was a house fire. And it's actually it was a house where 7 people were killed. And they set the house on fire, attempting to kind of cover it up. That was the first and the biggest, because I had gone to a couple of like natural death calls, which, but that was, so it was, it's one of those where you go in and it's like, again, you gotta do this, you have one time. So you go in, do what you gotta do, and again, they had, the Eagle Counseling come out and sit with everybody on patrol, everybody that was involved, everybody, just to make sure everybody was okay. I mean, because you kind of can't come back, and it's stuff that you still comes up every now and again, the smell or like just things, but you just deal. I know that sounds horrible, but
there is just dealing. But how do you deal? Say you smelled that fire, and I'm sure there's a certain smell that hair has when it's burning. I mean, it's just something you can't forget. So say 3 years later, say you accidentally burn your hair and you smell that smell, and those thoughts come back up, and you're remembering that case, and you're remembering the 7 people that were in that house who didn't make it. And how do you deal with something that happened, say 3 years ago, and it comes back up? How is that dealt with?
Of course, everybody deals with it differently.
Sure.
I know this is horrible to say, but I guess I just don't. Like, okay. I don't really have I try to do a lot of self-care. I do a lot of grounding where, I'm journaling, pray a lot.
Okay, I was going to ask, do either one of you pray?
Yes.
Because I'm a very strong Christian, yes. And that's how I got through a lot of things, was
I'm big on that.
through praying.
And a lot of the people that we work with kind of been through the same thing. So a lot of our thing, which is probably horrible, and we should probably put a warning, but we have awful sense of humor.
Dark humor.
Very dark humor.
You have to.
So
I so
the
understand
things that are, so we'll,
we're the worst.
Joking manner, of course, like we'll say something, but I think we all know, okay, well, they're needing to get it out.
It's a coping. Yes, it's a coping mechanism.
We have each other.
It's
we talk about it in a sense, and our we're always good about reaching out to each other. So if we see someone is off, we're always like, hey, are you good? And messaging, hey, if you don't want to talk to, you don't want to say it out loud or whatever, hey, you can, So I think our little section is actually good about that, I think, for the most part.
Because when someone's off. You
sure.
can feel it. I mean,
yeah.
When you work with each other, daily, you know each other, and
Yeah, because you not only have like your personal junk, but the work. It's what we do is not for the faint.
It's not normal.
It's not.
It's not normal.
Not everyone can do it.
No,
and it takes a special person.
I actually had my boyfriend's mom send me a video. And she's always telling me, she's like, your job is she's like, I don't know how you do it. But it was a video of law enforcement going to a house and DHR, and the house was like, god awful. And she's like, do people really live like this? And I told her that's actually very common. But she goes, how? And I was like, I just do. And she was like, she was in tears. She didn't understand that was, she was like, what did they do with the kid? And I was like, well, obviously they, took the kid away. And she said, well, where'd the kid, so all of it was just traumatic. She just couldn't understand. Yeah. And I was like, that's just another day. Like, that's not bad. I know that sounds horrible. It's bad. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's bad. But
there's been.
You have to desensitize yourself.
I know that sounds horrible.
And this job will change you. There's no doubt about it. This job will change you. I think, though, from the trauma that I've experienced from this job, because you're going to experience trauma. There's just no way around it. There is. I can remember my first child death case. She's always going to remember her first child death case. It's just something that's not ever going to go away. And I have intrusive thoughts that will just pop up, like you said, just random times. My first child death was a drowning of a 2-year-old. And I will never forget her name. I will never forget the house. I will never forget the way the pool looked, the way it smelled. There's just things that, and so sometimes when I'm swimming with my kids, that thought comes in my head. But it also has, I feel like, it made me a better parent. Some people, may say, oh, well, you're a helicopter mom. And, I'm going to protect mine. So there's certain situations I won't put my children in because I have seen the effects from someone else's family. So there's pros and cons of this career. It's just your outlook and what you take from it.
It depends on the person doing the job.
Yes. And there's some people that just can't do it. There's some people that may get their first death and be like, okay, you know what? I'm out. This is not for me. And that's fine. And then there's some people like me that's like, okay, I'm going to treat this case as if this was my child. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give them the respect that I would expect if it was my child. So, I don't know. I think just taking care of your mental health is the biggest part. The department I came from, you could see a psychologist anytime you want to, and it was no charge of you. Here we do have to pay for it, but like she said, I think that a lot of us are just so close, and you do become family with a lot of people that you work with. We just kind of talk about things, like especially me and her. We've talked about a lot of stuff that I'm not going to talk to my male colleague, about it, but we do, and I'm grateful for her to be in the division where I'm at, because I do have her, and I do feel like if I needed something, she's going to be more understanding on a lot of aspects of it. Yeah. Just like premenopause.
Yay, premenopause. Well, saying all that, if there was a young woman that was looking to be in this career, what advice would you give her?
I would just say it's easy to get consumed with the negativity of like the males around you, but if there's a way to drown it out and just give them hell back, they hate it. They don't like it when you succeed, and I think that's what drives me. I'm like, you know what, this is gonna be like, there's nothing worse, I feel like, that there's nothing better than walking around and knowing that somebody doesn't want you there. There's a feeling, like, it's just the pride. It's like in your face, like, I'm here and you don't want me here, but I'm here. So just give it all you have. The job needs, like, they need more females, more badass females. Not just any female, but more badass females. Like, we can be tough. We can do the physical requirements like any man. I've been a testimony of that. I did the Marine Corps, and I'm SWAT certified. I'm here. I'm pushing 40. I'm about to be 40. So it's tough. It gets tough, the physical, especially when you're mentally exhausted. Yeah. And you want to go home and you want to go to sleep. the premenopausal part, because it's not easy losing after. So like I've been struggling, and it's not that I don't try. I've been eating well and I've been working out, but some women are different. Some women, and it's just not the same.
The exhaustion for me. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm exhausted.
Mentally, physically,
I am exhausted.
Sometimes emotionally, that I have to literally talk to Jesus and say, I've got to have a reason to get out this bed today, because this is, but literally, as a female to another female, I just go for it. Like, if
you have to have a thick skin.
Yes, but it's not impossible. It is not impossible, and whatever you want is yours. Like, there's no limit. You're your only obstacle. You're your only block. Like, if you put in your head that you can't do it, then you're not going to.
Yeah.
But it's already been done, so it's not impossible.
I would say that too. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot for women, I would say, do some self-evaluation. Make sure that that's what you want to do, that you have a passion for it, because you will learn quick. If your heart is not in it, if you don't have the passion for this job, you're not going to make it. You're going to struggle. You're going to give up. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. You're not going to feel like you're enough. You are. You're going to feel like you're failing. Sometimes you will. But you got to keep moving forward and use the negativity, use those comments as self-motivation.
Very good. All right, so we've talked about what it's like to be in your line of work. What do you like to do outside of work when you have the time? And we'll close it up with this.
Okay. I like to fish and paddleboard and kayaking, and really just spending time with my family. My kids, they heal me in so many ways. So just loving on them, just spending time with them. I know they're not going to be little forever. So, like she has said many times, I'm present. I'm present with them, but that heals me.
Gotcha. What do you like to do?
There's a little bit of everything that I do. Church is huge for me, because without that, this is God's work anyway, and so we can't do this job without him, of course. He has to be present. This is, and just grounding. Like, I love to be outside, because I feel like that's healing for me. So being out, just like I of course I like running outside. I hate the treadmill. So, but my thing is going to a really nice park and just running. I love that. My kids, of course. Well, I don't have babies, so I have to struggle to spend time with my son, because he's at the age where
he's 16.
Yeah,
he wants to be away from mom.
Yeah, and the weird part, people make fun of me. I've had people make fun of me, but I don't know what it is. I don't shy away from my job. So sometimes I actually go home and all the books that I'm reading are either have to do with law enforcement. It's all about 911 calls. It's all about the death investigate. I literally have all of those books. And then I will go on YouTube and I look up videos about interviews and stuff, because I'm always thinking of, well, maybe there's something in there that I could take. I'm just that kind of person. My boyfriend's like, do you not get enough of your job? And I'm like, well, it's my life. It's just it's all I do. It's who I am. It literally defines me, because it's just my passion. So I know that that's not really healing. It's not, but it's just something I do. I don't know, I guess. So I journal a lot. I write down a lot of my thoughts, prayers, I manifest. So I'm always doing stuff like that. I don't know. I don't really do a lot of that outdoorsy stuff. I guess I should, but that would be by myself, because I don't have anybody. So I just kind of I don't know, just stay to myself, I guess, and my kids.
Well, kids are
horrible, but
no, it doesn't sound horrible. It's what you're comfortable with, and being comfortable and being able to wind down and relax, however it is, if it's with a lot of people or if it's with yourself.
Peace is more important right now.
Peace.
I know that sounds, but I've had so much chaos already, and the job is chaos. So when I go home, honestly, that's my goal, is peace. So I don't do much. Sometimes if I have to be by myself, like I'll take a bath.
Nice hot bath.
Yes. Or I just
a little bit of chocolate.
I kind of sometimes say to, like, I'll, be in a room and I just pray, I just talk or whatever, or I just like to be by myself sometimes, like that solitude, because it kind of it brings me back, and it's like, I just kind of, like, I'll sit outside. I know that it's weird, but I like sitting out front, and in the mornings especially, like, I'll have my coffee and I'm watching the birds. And
it's nice and peaceful though.
But I'm like, it's calm.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because before I used to do all of that, but I feel like now I'm just at a point where it's like, I really just want peace. Like, I don't want the drama. So if it doesn't involve my work, I don't really want to deal with it. Like, I'm just like, I just want my peace and quiet right now. Like, I need to be centered, because if I'm not centered, like, I get overstimulated easily. Especially, I'm guessing that probably has to do with the trauma and stuff. But I'm at the point where I find myself, I get overstimulated. So me recognizing, I guess, where I'm at right now in my season, and my feelings, I'm basically catering to how I feel right now. So I don't need all the extra, like being out in public where there's too much. I recognize, like, I don't get me wrong, we go out to eat, and have a good time, but sometimes, like, because I'm kind of like an empathic person, I take in people's feelings, and by the time I get home, I'm drained.
Yeah.
So,
kind of like that guy. Have you seen The Green Mile?
Yes.
The movie? The big black guy that takes in all the pain from people, and then
that is literally
he has to, he has to eventually release it.
And like I said, we live in our office. It's like somebody's going through it. Somebody's something.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I don't say much, but it's like I feel. So by the time I get home, it's not my problem, but it's everybody else's. But I'm a feeler. Like, I feel for other people. So if you're hurting, I'm hurting. If you're stressed, I'm stressed for you, because my thing is I want to help you. I want to make it easier for you. And if I can't do that, then I feel useless.
Oh.
And we're fixers.
So,
we want to fix.
So it's just part of, so my thing, like I said, I guess I'm at a point in my life right now where peace and balance is where I am focused on, because I need it most right now.
Tai Chi is really good for that.
Tai Chi?
Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, is there anything else you want to talk about that you can think of that you want people to know?
I would just say, if you don't like us here, too bad. We're here to stay. And we're going to bring as many girls in here as possible.
Wonderful.